Greetings, everyone. We're back again for the second episode. Welcome. This is a platform where we discuss and explore more than anything, rather than just a discussion, but just to explore where men seem to be in this world, how men tend to experience themselves in this world. Of course, there's a lot of things that influence why men would experience themselves in certain ways. So the main objective of this conversation or this podcast for that reason is to get a good sense of the subjective experiences that men have. Right? These are they may be personal ideas or experiences. There may be experiences that we've come across people that will share those type of experience. So whatever it is that we've come across or experienced ourselves or witnessed, these are conversations we want to have and just share with everybody. So today we are talking about men in relationships, all right? And that for me is quite a tricky conversation. Not tricky in the sense that it shouldn't be had and it's extremely difficult, but it's a very complex conversation to have. And I think being in a relationship as well, it becomes quite a complex experience to have. And sometimes to even articulate to other people as well. So we thought today, let's have that type of conversation. With a good friend of mine, Sbu. I'll drop her Instagram handle as well so you can check his content out as well. So we're going to have a bit of a discussion, Sbu. So when I started out in Nagwetu, when we started out and we decided that this was a chat we're going to have, I was a bit apprehensive about it. It's a necessary chat to have.
Yeah.
No doubt. It's a necessary chat to have because I think a lot of the conversation we'll have as men is about our women, right? A lot of chats will not necessarily about them, but our experiences of them. They obviously have different ideas and opinions about whatever interactions we have, but generally a lot of the chats we would have are about the experiences we have with our women. So today we thought, let's have that chat. And I felt apprehensive about it because it's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult to understand. I've felt for it, at least I've felt that it's difficult sometimes to articulate a lot of the experiences that I have in the relationship as the man. There's a lot of things that I understand about myself. There's a lot of things I understand myself. Career-wise, I know how to move. I know how to navigate myself. As a single man as well, I've known how to navigate.
As a single man at home affairs.
A single man at home affairs. I've managed to navigate myself in that sense. Home affairs, no, socially as a single man. But what I found I struggled a lot with was when I was in an actual committed relationship. All right. And in that space, I've felt that nothing more tests who you are than being in a relationship with somebody that you've decided you want to commit with. And that is probably one of the most valuable spaces you might want to be in, but one of the most scariest spaces that, in my opinion, I've probably existed in. I don't know how you've experienced just the idea of being in a relationship.
First and foremost, I think the idea of being in a relationship, the idea of a commitment, I think also comes with its challenges, just the pressure that you as the individual put yourself under. Because you also want to manage how the other person experiences you. And you don't want to be seen as someone who is unreliable. You don't want to be seen as someone who does not have their ish together. And you also don't want to be seen as someone who lacks direction. So there's just different elements that amount or they pile up pressure, which if you would sit down with the other person, they don't expect you to be perfect, but just the choices that you made on how you want to be perceived and experienced. Now you've put up this expectation now that you must be held at a very high regard and standard. And when you get held, to account with those unrealistic or rather unsustainable.
That you probably said.
Yeah, So I think that's where the challenge is, because being in a relationship should be fun. A relationship should be amazing. A relationship should be challenging because evolve. Because today uthanda isigibhe espinki. Next birthday yakho umntu akuthela isigibhe espinki umceba ngubani otheni thanda ipinki andifuna ipinki. So i-challenge iphake ngowe now you are evolving, and zikhona i-instances where ni-evolve to i-direction eyi-one. Kube khona i-instances where ni-evolve ingathi someone is driving a wedge because wena ucinga iDurban omnye ucinga iKapa. You know, so I think you just need to immerse yourself in a relationship and accept the challenges will be there. Challenges are not going anywhere. I don't think there's any relationship that is perfect, whether it's a relationship, marriage, or I don't think ikona is perfect. So
the precious Buddha man that you talk of, Mdawet, there's a part of it and I think this is also a very tricky thing, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are. I'll tell you a bit of mine. There's that part here, pressure. There's welcome pressure. Right? And welcome pressure, I look at it as responsibility that's been acknowledged and accepted. Right? That's welcome pressure. Anything that you deem as a responsibility moves you towards a space of experiencing ubomi in a meaningful way. I don't think you know a person who doesn't have responsibilities that can sit and say they're living a meaningful life. I don't think, So there's pressure. There's welcome pressure, which I deem is that sense of responsibility. Now, when you apply pressure on yourself to make sure that you come across to this person, like you mentioned, you come across to this person you're with as being reliable, you come across to this person as being a man of integrity, a man who's always striving, honest, all of those things that you want to portray, all right? That works on two ways. On one side is that it actually drives you to be the man that a lot of men, just never mind the females, a lot of men would look up to, particularly younger ones, because that's just what you want to do. But on the other end, yes, it does give umem that sense of, I'm with somebody that I can rely on, as you mentioned. So that pressure comes in both ways. But now the tricky part is, when is that what it is? It almost feels like that when we're in a relationship. It almost feels like that for me. Is that I've got to fortify myself to a degree whereby if I bring somebody in, right, as a man, that's just how I view relationship, is that if I bring somebody in, they've got to benefit now from all of these.
From your existence.
Exactly. You see what I'm trying? That's the value I feel like I will provide. That's the value I feel like I can give. All right. It's for her, yes, because she's with, but it's mainly also for me. So it's almost like in two parts. Right. I don't know if you're still with me on that.
I'm still with you. And I've got any question that can just interject.
Yeah.
So now that you're saying you've got these things that you feel the person that ongena life in yako should automatically benefit, right? From
me,
what you're presenting or what you're about. So how do you feel, or how does that make you feel when you don't when let's say now you are giving out this energy of what you're about, and then and the person now is not receiving it in the way that you would want them to receive it and enjoy it. And so how does that make you feel when a good gesture yakho mhlambi is not being understood?
And when I'm done to that becomes the part where it shows you that now you're not just living Gogwako. It's not just you anymore. Because if it was just you, you would move in the way that you do and get all the accolades and the forward movement in the way that you would want it to. But now when you bring somebody into the space, you've got to realize that all the value that you believe you provide, or and all the value that you feel like you bring, drive, mhlambi, that's one of them. Care and concern, that's a valuable thing. Care and concern, integrity, all of those things. As much as those are important for somebody else, but on the actual ground, they don't look the same.
Yeah.
Right? They don't look the same. And now when somebody is in that space where you've kind of committed to them, but listen, this is what we're going to build, and I want all of these principles or rules to exist and values to exist, you've got to understand that they're not always going to look the same for the person as well. So from that spirit of I'm trying to provide utando, love, I'm trying to provide care, I'm trying to provide support, it's very important that you keep checking if whether does it actually look that way for that person. Me showing love and concern is acts of service. Me showing that I want you, I want to build a thing for you and all of that. It might not look like we're holding hands all the bloody time. It might not look like I'm giving you hugs in public. It might not look like the romantic fluffy type of stuff, right? It might look like the way that I act towards you, the way that I provide for you, the way that I always seek to protect you, the way that I also cheer you on to get that. That's what it might look for. But for my person, it might look like I actually want to be held and kissed. I actually want to be romanticized, etc., etc. So those conversations now will take place to kind of help you morph what it looks like for Yena to experience all of these things that you say you want to bring, and also for you to communicate the same to her as well about, okay, when you like it this way, but I like it this way. And that's when that acknowledgement of there's somebody else in the relationship is that I will do what I know I want to come across as. I will act in ways that show integrity, but I want to make sure that the way that I show it to you is the way that you can see and recognize it as well, because you've communicated it. All right. So the energy is there, the principles are there. It's just a morphing on how it looks like on the physical sense when we're actually doing the thing that makes you recognize, oh, that's integrity for me. You understand? So that's how I tend to reconcile it, but I've had a lot of situations where there's been a lot of frustration because I couldn't get it as well. Because I've shown care, I've shown concern, and still got somebody that would say, hey, bro, you didn't show any sense of support. And you feel like, and you feel like you've gone deep to bring out whatever 2 cents you could to contribute towards whatever this idea is. By 2 cents, I don't mean monetary value, but whatever that element that you had to bring from, and you bring it, and this person looks at you like, hey, but, and you feel like, yes. So how do you respond to that experience?
That's where awuyindoda, fortunately and unfortunately, that's where you stomach a lot of issues. Issues that are not even good for you. Just to be the bigger person. I understand. Next time, how would you like me to show you, mhlambi? Or how would you like uba ndikwenza ufilishe ingathi mhlambi ndikuvile wena eyakho isupport, because khona isupport yakho as a man. Then ke kube khona eyabo as females. Yayiqonda? Eyakho Mkhiva man is straightforward. Hayi ndiphelwe ngumbane shota i-R100. Yayiqonda uba it's communicated clearly. Eyabo ijika-jika, you have to touch a lot of places. And wena as the man uyifixa ufuna uyanqanda ufela ithole usolve la problem, enzele umuntu uthini utshintshe la situation so that angafinishi kanjeya anymore. Panishele loo nto ke ngoku kuthiwe no siyazi acknowledge i-actions zakho, however le method uyisebenzisileyo man andiyiva.
It almost feels like you're the one that, it almost feels like, because when you mentioned as a man, sometimes you've got to stomach izinto and move on and try as hard as you can to make sure about this forward movement, right? That hit me because I'm like, la part your stomach. I've felt I've had to do a lot of that in the past as well. I know a bunch of my mates as well that have felt that they've had to do that. And that's how they explain it. That's how exactly, they might use different terms, but it comes to that is the fact that there's something in me that I can't, that I genuinely and naturally don't feel like needs to be in here. But I'm going to hold it down. That's how it feels like. But I'm going to hold it down and make sure we are okay. But whose we are okay if you're sitting with something that you're not feeling?
Oh, we are okay, Kaloku. Yeah, now okay. So okay, it means
we are okay.
Because
so she's okay, we are okay.
Happy, you know what? I now namandla oyiraise le nto because I can live with it. So if ngoku sakhe sithathe kwenziwe study, you'd find that ii-problems zethu singamadoda ziyi-1 ziyafana. Singahlala sibe bayi-15, omnye usuka eRussia, omnye usuka phi. Xa sithetha about how we experience ii-females, I think izitori zethu are almost the same. Athi omnye hayi akoneli, omnye hayi ayibona into endiyenzayo. And then the other person athi, I feel like this person doesn't listen. Yes, inazo indlebe, but akayiva into endiyi-communicatayo.
She knows the right sounds to make too. Exactly. To show you that I'm paying attention.
Exactly. But now, laa nto leyana man, amadoda are in trouble. Because
how do you say?
One, you've got a lot of females spreading a message wrong to other females about uba amadoda afuna ntoni. Indoda yona abuziwe amadoda le-equation akabuzwanga. If amantombazana ebeyazi how simple iingqondo zamadoda are, ngezi thrive relationships.
But is that simplicity, does that maybe that simplicity in terms of what we want? Because I wonder this as well. Because you want something so simple, for an example, maybe simplicity is not the actual point I'm trying to make here, but let me not use that adjective. Let me think of it this way. That the fact that it's very difficult for females to fulfill in needs as a matter, right? Or to understand rather in needs as a matter. The fact that it's difficult, could it be possible that it's very difficult for them to understand how you could just want that?
Yeah, there is a possibility.
Because that's something I have sometimes felt is that I'm not joking. This is it. This is all I need.
Kiva man, I think this is where now we need to start identifying flaws kuthi nabo ba-identify flaws zabo kubo, you know, because mhlawumbi wena to show appreciation to someone lixesha lakho, ne-level of sacrifice oyenzayo ngexesha lakho. You could be doing something ezawuimprove ilife yakho as an individual, but kukhona lo mntu usengxakini, usacrifice noba incinci kangakanani, but that sacrifice uba ukwazi uaccommodate omnye umntu. Qonda? I think most yamadoda, they would like uba ku-identifywe or ku-recognizwe sacrifice, ku-recognize the fact that, you know what, for me choosing to be here, loo nto leyo yi-gold on its own. Because abanye abantu, they've misunderstood uba to be shown uba ndiya-appreciate okanye ndiyathandwa mandithengelwe into. Now you find that indlu igcwele ithe qhu, but umntu use-empty because yena wafundisa uba xa khona ingxaki or to show someone uba ndimxabisile, object. Wena to show umntu umxabisile, level of sacrifice, nexesha lakho uthi uye uzidine ngalo umnike but akakwazi uyi-understanda yena loo nto leyo because how can uba undibonise and appreciate ngohlala nam uzawufumana ntoni ngohlala nawe.
Mnakwethu, is that what it is for indoda in a relationship, that you've got to, that's why you're here? Don't act like it's something that I need to be appreciative of overly. That's why you're here. Because there's a big part for a lot of gents that feel like, listen, I'll go to the ends of the earth for my person. Go to the end of the earth for my girl. I just need a bit of gratitude and appreciation for the sacrifice.
Abantu basifuna imali, funa nje recognize.
Exactly, right? But is that why we're in a relationship? Is that sometimes how a lot of females view Windot, is that you courted me there, chilling. You went, courted me, told me every nice thing there was in earth. You brought me here. And now you act like all of what you're doing for me, I'm supposed to act like it's a great thing. I was chilling by myself. I was all good. You brought me here. So why do you act like now I need to show some level of hurrah gratitude for you when you got me and brought me here?
I don't think kwezi ages siphila kuzo indoda iyahlonitshwa nje just for being umuntu mhlawumbe une-good manners, ungumuntu who's helpful and that is expected of you. Ingathi funeka nje ibe khona loo nto leyo, but akhangelwa loo nto.
What you mean?
Kaloku ngoku senzithi uba yes, zizinto that they appreciate xa zikhona.
Yeah.
But ngoku you need to fulfill every need elapha. Kwanto, need, want, mood, hormones. Is that not it? Why is that not it? Because to be honest with you, that's how I've noticed a lot of relationships become. And there's a lot that's been said, is that, listen, man, you disturbed my peace where I was at. I was doing me. And you got me wherever you were, and you brought me here. So we here now. I've got a problem.
I've seen a lot of that. A lot of men understand relationships like that. They genuinely feel like that's that, and they've been told that, whether verbally or by action or whatever the case. But they experience relationships like that.
I think.
Why are you saying?
I think, Kivaman, we need to identify also the source of the problem. What makes them do that, or what makes them, or what creates or drives those expectations and narratives? I like to reflect a bit on izinto zakudala. I feel kudala mna, the reason life expectancy yabantu mhlawumbe kuze kuthiwa umuntu hayi 8 years, 90 years. Abantu, they kept life simple. They loved people and they used things. Ngoku, they use people and they love things. But there's also a message that is created and it's been driven. Because ngoku, into esiyiconsumayo, whether kuse-TV, whether ku-social media, i-garbage yonke. Because kwaba khona i-TV program, kukhona umfazi pha okhohlakele e-TV, unemali, unepower, xa ubona indoda ingathi ubona inja. Yayiqonda? What does that do unconsciously to a woman that is, I would say, semi-independent, iyazisebenzela, corporate, udisappointe ngamadoda ebomini? So into esiziconsumayo ziyasiprogram indirect.
So social media, technology, and all of them play a big role in our relationships.
I-magazine, Kivaman, ngoku abantu bathenga imagazine kubonwa intombazana eyayokwenza ii-BBL, zonke izinto zabo, inomzimba perfect. Awukwazi uthi intombazana yakho eboniselulayo uthi mntu wam mhlema ndiyamthanda umzimba wakho. Uzawuthini yena? Ngoba ne-cellulite, hawu yena ndiqhela wena, uyathanda ndibhanqa. Why akwazi uyamkela loo nto yoba, you know what, lo mjito uyandithanda ndinje. Why? Kutheni kunzima uba funeke abe ne-image e-perfect. Andiqondi ikhona indoda ikhangelwe into perfect. Indoda ikhangelwe ngaphakathi entliziyweni nento elapho. Uyayiqonda? Mhle kodwa uyandihlonipha, uyandimamela, uyandi-understanda. Uyayiqonda? Ubone izinto ezibalwayo, ayizinto ezithengwa ngemali. Uyayiqonda? Ayizinto ezithengwa ngemali. So I think kulapha ke ngoku umehluko ayabe khona kwiinto thina sizikhangelayo. Thina sikhangela ii-attributes ezingathengiswa ngemali.
Ndiyakuva sibhuda man. I think what you're mentioning, mntakwethu, I seem to be chopping it up in different pieces or parts. I think a lot of men, most of men, will want to look at a girl and have that feeling of they feeling very sexually attracted to them because of how they look like, right? That would be the initial dondon, right? There would be men that would look at a female and feel attracted to the energy that they bring. All right. Klambi, the female isn't as a 10 out of 10 looking like in terms of looks, but when you check the energy, man, Lomdu, when she walked into the door and through the door and engaged with people, you just felt like a sense of, I love that type of energy. Yeah, so there's a lot of other examples, but you'll find that we all get attracted initially, right? In different ways. Most men will have that look. And then from it looks, it keeps going down and down and down and down. Now, the next step is to look at what type of relationship you're establishing with the person, right? If you a dude that's not looking to engage in a much more of a committed relationship with somebody, your engagement with the female will be very surface level as well. I'm looking for somebody looking beautiful. I'm looking for somebody who's got a nice body, BBL, that has done BBL, don't whatever, has that perfect body, perfect face and all of that. And we can keep it moving from there. But unfortunately, there are females that can do that too. Now, when they look at you, as much as they might look for looks, right? As much there are girls that do that.
But looks, but
exactly. And then it goes exactly.
Benefit
Exactly.
Ithini? Ubona ukuba ayikho potential le benefit.
Yeah.
Noma umkile.
Yabona ke mntakwethu. So we check the looks, right? Check the looks and they go deeper into what can I benefit from you. But they also have a certain level of what relationship I'm trying to have. There are females that are very cool they're very comfortable with a shallow-like relationship with. So those two people, I don't know if they work together or I don't know if those type of two people will work together, but those people tend to find each other. And then we've got abantu mntakwethu that amadoda particularly that will look for, yes, you look beautiful, and yes, I can take you places and show you off, but now I'm trying to establish something for myself, family, and all of that.
Very few, tell her now.
Very few men do that. All right. And that's where these conversations start happening. Is that now that we've moved past how beautiful you are, now that we've moved past about how much fun we can have when we're spending money, now I'm in a space where I'm looking for different qualities. And those qualities mean we are building a home, we are building a family, we are building a legacy. Now, unfortunately, doing that requires a certain level of character.
Yeah.
From yourself as in daughter and from the female. Now it brings it's in those places where these conversations are very important. Anybody can get money. Anybody can attract somebody who get money, right? That's why we find a lot of men existing in the spaces, and we find a great number of females existing in that space again, right? Not to say we're not supposed to have conversations about that, but I think the type of chats we're having right now are those where we're like, listen, when a man has decided to commit, what does that look like? What does that feel like? How do they experience that experience? Because when somebody comes in and say, we are here, me and you, Spulen, we are building. Now I've got to be very cautious about what I like, what I don't, what I tolerate, what I don't, etc., etc., etc. Because you're not going anywhere. Of course.
Hey, ndiyayithanda i-cooking yakho kanti xa ndisiya emsebenzini ndijule isikhaftina ndivule ifestile akhona amadoda.
Why can't we say anything? That's the problem, is that that's the issue, is that we're looking for all of these qualities, but we can't voice them out. We're looking for all of these attributes, and we have all these needs, but we struggle to articulate them.
No, as a struggle. Yazi uba yinto?
Yeah.
I think sifike kwistage apha ngothina singamadoda sesaqhela uthanda i-peace to a point where even if into detrimental to i-needs zethu siyisuppressa. Because uba bekuthiwa si-brutally honest, amantombazana brutally honest about umntu abamfuna kwispace sabo.
Very unapologetically so.
Bayixelele uba futhi ndifuna umntu okanje nakanje nakanje nakanje, iba yakanje nakanje, akho conversations I-entertainer nayo. Now indoda ibe kwesa space where ine-opportunity yothi ndifuna umntu okanje nakanje nakanje, iamende i-presentation yayo esa speech isute lo uselapha. Uyayibona loo nto le? That means ke ngoku siyaxoka.
Of course, yeah.
That means ke ngoku singamagwala.
Yeah.
Now xa uxoka uligwala, le mbizo uyiphekayo izawuvuthwa and izawutyiwa nguwe loo dodohoyi. So sukhala xa useyusityimbise erongo, iphekwe nguwe because une-opportunity.
What are you scared of? What is it?
Into ndithi amadoda ngoku afika kwiposition apha akathanda uthetha, thanda i-peace. Indoda xa ingekho happy emkhivamen endaweni ubona i-behavior, ane-behaviors ezi-dismissive, or not even as dismissive, but ane-behaviors as otherwise.
When they're not happy anymore.
Whether mhlawumbi uhappy ngawe as a person mhlawumbi, but akasekho i-affection ayisekho. Indoda indlela e-respectful ngayo izawuhamba. This is very controversial. Ayizushiya umfazi wayo, iyazazi uba ndine-responsibility nomfazi, ndiyamthanda, nabantwana ndiyabathanda, but xa ndijonge lo mfazi akho nto eshukumayo in terms of ndingathini mhlawumbi sexually, akekho mhlawumbi akusekho nto em-excitayo, same as nalo mfazi.
Yeah.
But uyeke kuba abafazi bengazoyithetha loo nto.
So uthi mntakwethu asoyiki, we're not scared necessarily of saying these things. Okanye we would prefer peace, but
siyoyika uzithetha, not because azikho.
Yeah.
Zikhona, i-outcome ne-backlash, because uzawuthi wena xa one day you decide to be honest, kuyothathwa into yoba ungavalanga icango lefriji ngo-99 ndagodo lapho ndavuka nenyumoniya ngenxa yoba ungavalanga icango lefriji. Uyayibona apha ndiyakhona.
Intoni ila sense actually, let me put it this way. It always feels like but it almost feels like the only person that needs to continually develop in a relationship is you as the man.
Evolve.
Right?
Evolve.
Is you as the man. The only person that needs to continuously develop is you as the man. Because if she can tell you when you're not it, like, listen, you my man, I love you and everything, but how you're moving right now is not it. Step up. She can do that because she's expressing a need that she has, right? Exactly. And unapologetically so, all right? She states that because she knows she needs that in her life. Again, remember, you took her from with her peace and dondon and you brought her here. So you can't give her mediocre whatever when she's here. She knows how to express that unapologetically, which means you've got to suck it up and make sure you fulfill that. Right? So which means that in that case, if you can't do the same, you're the only person that's supposed to be evolving in this relationship. Because if you do say something truthfully and unapologetically the same way, repercussions are, it comes back to you being.
Because ayikho conversation ozawuza nayo wena uyibeke futhi uze ne-merits the case yakho iphelele apho kuthiwe, you know what, I accept le nto uyithethayo, uzayi-accept somewhere along the line funeka ijikile izoba ngawe. Funeka ijikile, funeka ijikile. Yazi mkhe wena umntu akayotshita, ayotshita. Bhaqiwe ke uyatshita. Sicela sohlukane. Hayi, unganiki attention. Asiyaqamba sixoxe attention ne. Sixoxa ke ngoku intoni i-consequences ze-behavior yakho engekho right and engekho trustworthy. Hayi, unganiki attention.
I've had a lot of that experience, not necessarily with cheating, but I've noticed that I've had that experience whereby, but there is accountability. Like this is what I'm trying to mention. You call it a level accountability that feels like it's accountability, but when you look at it, it's really not. I've had an experience with past girlfriends where I would call out bullshit that they've done, whether they've said, done, whatever the case might be. And you find that there's an acknowledgement of I did what I did. Yes, I accept that I did what I did. And it was wrong, I shouldn't have. The reason why I moved that way is because I wouldn't have moved in that way if you hadn't. And I've been telling you to move in this way for years, and you've never moved in this way. How could you let me end up in this situation after having so many conversations with you of you are moving in a way that I don't like? Now that we're here and I'm moving like this,
it's coming back to Lando and Situba. Xa uzawuthi umntu ekonile akhangele isizathu esizawujika wena ube yingxaki yoba ewunile, ayikho accountability apho.
But it feels like it because I know it's not. I agree with you, it's not. But it feels like it when you say, I agree that I'm wrong and I'm sorry.
Once I agree that I'm wrong and I'm sorry, ithini plan of action, ithini iway.
So even not in the actual sense.
Athi but. Kufuneka thathe ndivele ndijonga andikho interested uzawuthini ku-but. Because xa usithi but masiqale sivumelane uba u-but ukhenhlisa yonke le nto boyithetha. Hayi kaloku once uthi but onke la mahololo ugqiba ndixelela wona.
You know the argument for that, what that argument does, right? And I like the fact that we're having this conversation because it almost, I'm almost envisioning the back and forth that you would have in a conversation, like in a conflict with a viewer. And maybe that's the chat we're having. How do we resolve or engage in conflict? But where are you telling me now that because I did wrong, I can't express myself? Because the but part means I'm trying to explain how I feel about all of this. And I'm trying to explain to you where my mindset is at. When are you just trying to tell me that I messed up and you don't want me to tell you about how I feel? How are you going to suppress that?
Unazi feelings. God, today it's not about the feelings zakho.